Hi everybody, Jaris from Fandom Knitting and Crochet here, and I wanted to do a quick tutorial on how to do the whip stitch. So a whip stitch is just kind of an embroidery technique or a way of seaming something or sewing something on. You can use it for appliques, or in this case we're going to be sewing a little pocket onto this cup cozy, and it's a nice way of attaching a piece to another piece of work without having to make a bulky seam, and it goes pretty easy and it's nice and neat. So what I've done is, this is the pocket cup cozy crochet pattern. So you make a little square and you are going to attach it to your cup cozy. So I want to make sure I'm not sewing through the back. Okay, I want this to be open on the inside, but I'm going to hold my piece on here and figure out where I want to place it. I want to, if you're making this pattern, have your long tail up on this corner here, because you're going to go around these three sides. And so if I put that somewhere else, I'm going to have to add a new piece of yarn. So in this case, it makes a lot of sense to actually just put that tail up in this corner, which is the upper right corner of this side. So anyway, I have a long length of yarn. I would say at least 18 inches, maybe even 24, just to give yourself a little bit of leeway. And if you want to, you can actually sort of pin your pocket on with an extra yarn needle. So if you have another yarn needle that you can use, you can kind of pin your pocket in place so it doesn't shift as you go. That's not really a bad idea. I don't have another yarn needle handy, but I do have like a regular sewing needle that I'm going to use just to kind of keep that in place. So take your working yarn, and you're starting in this upper right corner, and with a whip stitch you're going to go into the actual cup cozy piece from above and through, right? And then you're going to go underneath these stitches here. So it's kind of from top to bottom, but you're kind of pulling from the back side, if you can see that. And you're going to go through that stitch and pull fairly tightly, not extremely tightly, but enough so that it's going to be sturdy. And you're going to do the same thing again. So you're going to take your needle, you're going to go into the bottom piece through a stitch, kind of from top to bottom, and you're coming back out again, right on the other side. So you're going to go through and kind of out like that. So here's my needle, but I'm going to catch on to this the pocket through that stitch there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull through again, and I'm going to make my next whip stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that all the way down the side, and it goes extremely quickly. This is just holding a gift card or a tea bag in this coffee cup, so it doesn't need to be a super tight seam or you know, extremely sturdy. It's going to be sturdy enough, but it's also going to be something you can work up really quickly, and it's very kind of inconspicuous in your work. So it's not like a big bulky seam that you're going to see. It makes the pocket kind of a nice flat addition to the front of the cup cozy. So that's what the seam looks like. It's really pretty. It's just kind of almost a design element in itself with the whip stitches. When you get to a corner, what I like to do is work as normal once into that corner stitch, and then turn your work and go into a different stitch, you know, move down the line a little bit on your bottom piece, but go back into that same stitch of the pocket. So you're going to have more than one stitch in that corner, just to kind of turn the corner and make your way around. Then as you go through the bottom, you're going to notice that the stitches aren't the same as on the side, so they're going to be a little bit different looking, but you can kind of still see, you know, make sure you're straight here. Go through the bottom and then find a stitch on the pocket and just kind of move down the line. It doesn't have to be perfect, you know, you don't have to have the exact same number of stitches on each side. Just kind of keep them spread out as evenly as you can, so you don't have, you know, twice as many whip stitches on one side versus the other. But it doesn't have to be a perfect exact science. So go ahead and whip stitch around. I'm always keeping the tail above my my needle. So when I come back through, instead of having this under, I don't want to do that because it's going to make a knot. I'm keeping the tail above and out of the way, a little bit to the left of my needle in this case. And then you would just continue in the same manner all the way around. And that's whip stitch. So again, Jairus from Fandom Knitting and Crochet showing you how to whip stitch something with your crochet work.